What's up, guys? Eric Music coming at you with a quick After Effects tutorial on making really cool spherized twisty twirly shockwave. You could use it for water, would be good, but just a couple of quick tweaks and you can pretty much use it for anything. You can turn it into smoke, you can do it however you want to do it. But it's very simple. It's a lot easier than making 5 layers and putting circles that expand and all that sort of junk. So this is pretty easy. We're gonna go to new comp. Okay, let's just make sure that it's square, right? 19. We'll just go 1920 by 1920. Sounds good. Why not? We're gonna make our comp duration. We're only gonna make it 10 seconds. Doesn't need to be that long for this. So hit OK, and now we're going to go layer, new, solid. Okay, make comp size, it's already comp size. Okay, now we need to go and add some fractal noise. We'll go with noise and grain. You can search it, or you can go through and look through some of this stuff. And you can pretty much use any of this stuff if you want. You can use turbulent noise. For the most part, if it messes up the colors and gives you some colorization like this, then it's going to do wonders for this kind of graphic. You can change it to, you get different things here that you can change it to that will change the way that your shockwave looks, right? Which is pretty cool. Very simple to use. We're going to go with dynamic progressive, just because that's the one I've used it soft. Let's go to spline. Okay, let's turn up the contrast quite a bit there, because you want to make sure you see lots of colors in there, right? Lots of colors. Let's get some brightness in there, and the complexity. Turn the complexity up a little bit, right? Just to make it a little more complex. That's always a good thing. Now, we've got part of what we're going for. Next thing we want to do is take a rectangle tool, and up at the top, just a bit down from all the way from the top, you want to make a mask. Okay, and essentially what we're going to be doing here is making a mask and dragging it down, right, as it animates. Okay. Now you can see why the different. That's going to essentially be our. That's going to essentially be our shockwave. Is this design, or whatever design you decide to use with these things here, right? Like I said, there's plenty of them. Let's stick with dynamic twist. What's the difference, right? Looks more like smoke. So now here in our masks, let's go ahead and animate this thing. So we're at the beginning of our comp. We're going to go path, feather, expansion, and what the hell, opacity. So right here's where it's at. Let's go to the end of our comp, which is 10 seconds, and let's move some of this stuff around. Okay, so we get our mask, drag it down to, say, right there. Looks good to me. Take the feathering, pop it way up, right? Pop it way up. Mask opacity, drop it down to zilch, or just maybe to right there, and it can pop out. Mask expansion, we're also going to turn that up. Okay, opacity down a little more. So right now, this is all we've got. It's nothing spectacular. Okay, but you can see the beginning of it, how that would work out. So now we want to go ahead and add, let's see here. We want to add what's called polar, here, just up in your search bar, polar coordinates. Oh, I misspelled it. Polar coordinates, right? Polar coordinates, drag it onto your mask, and the interpolation, you want to be rectangular to polar. Turn that up, and look at that. You got a circle, right? That's pretty much that. You got a circle now that you can work with. You can scale that up or down, make it larger, make this layer larger or smaller, and that'll help you with the size of everything. So now that we've got that guy, right, we can, let's take a look here and just see where we're at. See how it gets bigger, fans out? Yeah, that's what we're looking for right there, right? That's what we're looking for. So we got boom, right? That's when the boom happens and it disappears. So now that we've got this guy, we can go ahead and add an adjustment layer if we wanted to. Or you know what, let's go ahead and add some new other effects. Turbulent displace, right? That's always a fun one. So we'll add it to our mask layer because that's the layer that we're trying to displace a little bit. Turn it down just a hair. Okay, and turn the size. Hell, let's turn the size up. Why not? Bring it over. And you see it gives it just a little bit of dimension. Gives it a little bit of unevenness. You know, because you might have some stuff and debris in the way, and the shockwave is going to go over that stuff, right? Which we're going to also make this 3D. Let's see here. Let's make our mask just a little bit bigger. That way we can kind of see a little bit better, right, what's going on here. So now we got that. And probably should turn our feathering up in the beginning here. Let's do that. Let's turn our feathering up. I'm going to go ahead and move this guy over a little bit because we want him to get big. Small, and then boom, he's big, right? Okay. So now we've got our feathering. Let's turn our feathering up in the beginning here because it just looks better with, everything looks better with feathering. No matter what you do, feathering is always a good thing. Lots of feathering usually makes things blend well. So now that we've got that in there, here's some things we can do. And this isn't the greatest shockwave in the world. You know, you can mess with it and it can give you a better idea of, you know, what your shockwave, what you want your shockwave to look like, right? And you know, if you wanted to change it, you can do the mask animation. You can change these things right here. That's also going to affect, obviously, that's going to affect your shockwave, right? Of how it looks. So now that we've got that guy on there, we can add an adjustment layer to it. Okay, so layer, new, adjustment layer. Okay. And let's just add some color correction. You know, why not? Effect, color correction, curves. There's also a really cool thing. It's called Vibrance. Vibrance by Video Copilot. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, so it's not like I make any money on it. But you guys should really check that out. They have amazing. Really amazing stuff. You know, some of the stuff they have is pretty darn cool. You know, with the Vibrance thing, it's sort of like as easy as it can be. It doesn't get any easier than that with their Vibrance tools. It basically does all this with one click. There's not much you got to do. It's plug and play. All right, so we've got some colors here, right? If you want to make it smoke, you can leave it white, fade it out a little more, right? But just so you guys can see it well, we're going to do this. All right, so now that we've got that, that's good enough. Hit Control, click, click, okay, pre-compose. Now we've got a comp. All right, now we've got our comp over there, and we can go back to our comp here, make this 3D, okay? Make that 3D, make sure 3D is on, and transform. We want to mess with the orientation here, right? Because if you're putting in a shockwave, it's likely not going to be flat straight on like that. It's going to have some kind of orientation that you're going to have to worry about. You know, depending on if something's hitting something, obviously it's going to have to be cohesive with that, whatever that element is. So now that we've got our pre-composition here, we can actually go in and put a layer on top of it. Okay, layer, new, adjustment layer. Okay, we've got our adjustment layer here, right? And start adding effects to that adjustment layer, the one above your pre-comp, right? So let's do some distortion on this guy. Let's go with, oh, boo, 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 boo. Let's go with a, oh, I don't know, displacement map, because that's where that just happens to be where I'm at. So displacement map, you know, we can draw this up a little bit, right? Draw that up a little bit, and you see it's starting to displace it. It's starting to give it some real sort of thickness and texture, right, that you wouldn't really have otherwise. And the cool thing about putting it on an adjustment layer like this is it gives it more of a 3D element to it. You know, like there's one in here called wave warp, wave. Okay, you got, or wave world. Let's try, you know, wave world. You know, fuck it, wave warp on the adjustment layer. Okay, now you see how it gives it a 3D. It gives it 3D waves on it. So, you know, if you look at it from right there, it's 3D, right? No element 3D, no extra plugins, nothing crazy. And if you look at the expansion of it all, you can see the expansion, the waves, obviously they don't move because we haven't animated them yet, but you can see how it messes with the expansion, and it gives you a whole lot of options to be able to just generally make a good, you know, a really good shockwave. You know, however, or if you're doing something else, you don't want it to be a shockwave. You want it to be something, it just looks different. You know, like maybe you're teleporting it and you got to have some teleportation in there and you don't want to put a bunch of plugins in there, or, you know, whatever it is. That's fine. And this is a really awesome way to do it. And I'm not explaining any of the stuff I'm doing right now because I'm just messing around. But you get the general idea. You know, if you wanted to put some kind of displacement on there, you could do that on this layer, on this adjustment layer 2 is what it's called here, where as if you put it on the other map, or in the pre-comp, if you put that in here, it's not going to give you the same effect because this isn't a 3D layer. So on this one, if you put it on a 3D layer, see how it already turned it up? Now it's wavy, right? Now it's wavy. And that makes a huge, huge difference whenever you're putting it into something and you want it to look good. Another really cool one that looks amazing is twirl. Okay, you throw some twirl on there, and you got to animate it to make it look really, really neat. But you know, the effect is it's worth it. So, actually, I put that in the wrong side here. We're going to put the twirl on this adjustment layer right here. Right, not in your 3D version of the comp, but in the actual comp itself. Okay. So you go to the beginning, and let's turn this twirl angle up. Just doesn't matter, just a little bit. Doesn't got to be a lot. You know, 1, 2, that's perfect. Okay. Then we got to turn our radius down because we don't want that to be, you know, really prevalent until the thing starts moving. So let's see how it twirls like that, and it kind of gives it an element of you know, a vortex sort of in the middle. Something is actually spinning. So let's go here. Let's keyframe this. Twirl radius. Okay, we're going to keyframe that. And then we're going to bring it to the end. And you know what? When we go to the beginning, we're going to keyframe our angle as well. And then we're going to go to the end, okay, of our comp. And we're going to turn this up. So it stays just on the edge of that. You know, you can go all the way to the outside if you want. That's fine. And the angle, you want to turn, this angle really makes a huge difference. So you only got to tweak it just a hair. You don't have to tweak it that much, right? And now you can kind of see what we got. All right, this is This is in the 2D version, and it just takes a little bit longer to render because my computer is fairly slow, so I apologize. But over in this side, if we turn off some of these effects, you can see what that's doing, right? What's another displacement map? Let's turn off displacement map on this adjustment layer, and now you can see the effect that is having on that shockwave as a whole, right? So whenever you're trying to make shockwaves, you know, try doing it this way. It's much faster and a lot more versatile than trying to have two masks expand on top of each other. This one, you're only working with one mask. You know, you're only working with one mask right here. So you can put the you know, the effects in different areas, and they'll all have a different effect. But doing them on an adjustment layer is probably going to be the quickest and easiest way of making all that happen and making it look good. You know, so if you've got you know, a lot of shockwaves that you're doing, you're trying to do a lot of special effects, then your best bet is to go with something this general way of doing things. This is going to get you there a lot quicker. You're going to be able to mess with it a lot more, and it's just going to make life generally easier. Okay, so that is pretty much it. I'm going to mess with this stuff some more. I'm going to make it my own. I'm going to turn it into something if I can, and post that up on there. And then you guys go ahead and leave me a comment in the comment if you liked it, if you didn't like it. You know, if there's something else that you want to see, you know, just let me know, and I'll do my best to get it out to you. So again, Eric Music, leaving you today with a fairly long, boring tutorial, but you know, that's what I'm here for. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again next time.